So, g'day people, how you going? This is Glenn, and today we're just going to have a look at the current article. It's in the News Daily. So, if you don't know the News Daily, they're actually a centrist newspaper. They're not left or right. So, this is talking about that. What's his name? Greg Burney, former president of BP Australia, says that the state and federal government's going to be liable for closing down coal mines that actually exist in Australia. And they actually give some examples. So it is remediation of coal plants, cleaning up hazardous materials to meet federal and state requirements. So environmental standards cost up to $100 million. And if a company can't cover that cost, it falls on the taxpayers. And that's pretty much how it is. So if we look at another articles, which is grounding truth, taking responsibility for legacies of Australia's mining, for Australia's mining legacies. And if we have a look at how many mines there actually have been, okay, here are historic mines in light colour, light blue, and in dark blue. There's actually quite a lot of mines around the world. And the reason why a lot of them actually closed down is 25% because of the mine has been exhausted. Another just about 24% because of high cost, low prices. So 50% is depleted. 25% is depleted. Another 25% because there's too much. The price is too high. Cost that they actually get from their product is too low, and all the others actually come in to the rest 50%. So it's receivership, open cut. Well, that's another depletion. That's about 6%. Open cut depleted. So that's a above ground mine. And here we have the number of abandoned mines. So as you can see, they just lit up. Look at Tasmania. Tasmania is just one great big mine. There's a lot in South Australia. As you can see, Victoria, it's not that many. Here is where the actual gold rush was. As you can see, there's a lot of mines. And that's why if you go bushwalking around Ballarat, you have to be careful because there's a lot of mine shafts that are actually in the ground. They're still there. A lot of them actually being filled in because the actual soil's actually fallen back in, or the mine itself has actually collapsed from the overbearing rock, but it's still a bit dangerous. And there's a lot of mine shafts you can actually walk into. They've actually tried to actually seal a lot of them off. So the number and distribution of abandoned mines in each state of Australia. And so the historic mines is probably more like, this is more like the actual large mines, and the actual mines are actually stated with all this is probably mines since the British have come to Australia. So a lot of those are probably individual mines mined by people. But basically, in Queensland alone, in 2016 report, I'll put links down to these articles. Queensland itself is liable for $3.2 billion in remediation of mines after they've actually closed. And also, at the start of this month, mining giant Peabody announced it would temporarily close the metropolitan mine in Helensworth in New South Wales, Illawarra Coast for 8 weeks from January. So that's closing in January. And it sparked fears that the company would probably just close. It would fold up and go in receivership. Then the company itself will not be liable for any cleanup it actually have to do. And this is actually seen in the actual, so there is the Northern Endeavour. That's a large mining ship drilled for oil, and it was actually bought a few years ago. It was a good there was I think on the ABC, they actually had a segment on this, and the actual Northern Oil and Gas Australia, they actually apparently they had money to actually invest in this, but the government was actually, or the government regulators have been vague on what they actually wanted them to do, so the investors weren't actually going to pump money into it. And so because there was this vagary from the actual government, they actually didn't bother putting any money into the actual ship, and the company just went into liquidation. So in the end, they're not actually going to be responsible for, how much is it? $200 million to get rid of the ship and scrap it? And the federal government's going to have to foot that bill. And this is basically where I think that mining is actually probably going to go in the future. Maybe a lot of the large mines can actually have enough money put aside. No, they have to give some money to the federal and state governments in the financial assurance. So they put that money forward for the remediation after they've actually closed the mine. It's more like a guarantee. And apparently in this article from the ABC, now a lot of you probably hate the ABC, taxpayers exposed to free billing cleanup of Queensland mines. So, and I was saying that 90% of the actual financial assurance put forward was incorrect and too low. So they're pretty much just, there's probably not going to be enough money, because a lot of these mines will not generate that much money. That's why when the prices go down too low, a lot of these smaller mines actually close. And as coal is pretty much dumped by the world, so 2050s, when a lot of countries probably want to go neutral and get rid of coal, then a lot of these companies are probably going to have to close down because they won't be profitable anymore. No one wants to buy the coal. So who's going to actually pay for it? We are the taxpayers. Because all they need to do is just go into liquidation. Just disappear. Well, probably not disappear. But anyway, can't say that. That's not really nice. But, you know, this is just what is going to happen. And it's not only going to be coal, it's going to be oil as well. And a lot of other mines, probably not iron ore or copper or anything like that, because they generate substantial profits. But anyway, I'll actually like to know what you think about Australians having to fork out money to fix up coal mines after they've actually closed down, instead of the companies themselves forking out the money to fix up the mine after it's been used. Anyway, I'll leave this here. This is just my thoughts. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have an awesome climate change.